Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Home Education Hub with me, your host and facilitator, Claire. And I'm so excited to bring you another expert and a very special guest, beautiful lady, Rachel, who is here with us this evening on our Tuesday Teach. Welcome, welcome, Rachel.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I didn't know if I was supposed to speak then. I didn't want to, disrupt your flow. Hi. How you
That's
doing?
okay. So I'm going to just introduce you a little bit more. So Rachel is full-time single parent of two beautiful tiger cubs, and she's also the CEO of LaLa Tigers, which she's going to tell us about in a moment. And we're going to also talk about how NLP, hypnotherapy, and the power of music combined have really changed her and her children's lives, and how she's bringing that out into the world. So Rachel, excited to have you here.
I am so excited to be here, but then quite frankly, I'm excited to be anywhere, just to be talking to an adult at the moment.
Just to have an adult conversation.
People out there.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, like just tell us a little bit of backstory about, how you ended up almost finding by accident the power of music, and how you've then used that in such a way to help so many people with this wonderful project that you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so the story starts when I was 5. Absolutely loved music, and it's all I ever wanted to do. And then kind of life got in the way, really. I think back then music wasn't considered a proper job, and so I kind of sort of bumbled through life and had a really successful corporate career and all the things. And then my kids came along, and that kind of put paid to that. And I knew that I wanted my life to change. And I knew that music was something that I wanted to do. It was something I could do around my children. So I set up music sessions for under 5s and their carers, which I did in the UK for 6 years, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, I also had a little bit of what I would call a life collapse, if you like. So I went through a very dark time. I lost my brother very suddenly. I lost my father very suddenly, just days after asking him for some help. And it was actually the loss of my father that allowed me to find the courage to finally leave a long-term situation that was not serving myself or my children. So I kind of found myself bringing up 2 kids alone. I think they were 2 and 4 at the time, completely single-handedly. I had post-traumatic stress disorder from years and years of emotional and psychological abuse. And I was trapped in my head with all these racing thoughts. And, there's a lot of ways you can go at this moment in time, because life was very harsh. But I turned to things like yoga and meditation, and it was those kind of things that not only allowed me to reclaim myself, but it put me back in touch with who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And all these things kind of came together because at the time I had my eldest child, he was suffering with trauma. And it meant that kids don't listen, like, ever.
Mm.
So times that by 10, and he just could not follow an instruction. He found it very difficult to be present. And I was trying to get out of the door one morning, and a song had come on the radio, and he just started singing it. I mean, like, it was instant. I'd been going, and he just started singing this song, and I was like, ooh. Oh, Gaia! And I'd found a way in. So my journey with LaLa Tigers originally started by me just kind of writing music to help me out a little bit, and to help my kids out and help them to do things. But what I really loved about it was that we were able to take really stressful, difficult moments and turn them into moments where not only was it fun, but my kids were actually asking. Like, they were looking forward to the moments and asking for the songs. And it really shifted the whole energy of, like, getting out in a stressful way to fun, love, and connection, which is a whole different feeling for everybody. Everybody, like, left singing and dancing and all the things. And all of this came about at the same time as I was retraining in NLP and hypnotherapy. And I'd become really, really fascinated in the subconscious mind and programming, and how a child's belief systems that are formed in the first 6-7 years of life are what we then use to run the rest of our lives.
I know, scary, right?
95% like unconscious basis. And so I thought, if it can work for that, what else could I teach my children? And it was then that I realized that getting their teeth brushed and putting their shoes on is great, but actually what I really wanted to teach my kids was the things that had changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like how to be true to yourself, how to be grateful, how to trust the inner voice, how to tune into it, how to become present, how to have courage,
Yeah.
and how to ultimately show up as like a fully authentic version of yourself.
Yes.
And be totally fierce, which is why LaLa Tigers, like there's lots of and finding your fierce and earning your stripes and all that kind of stuff. So LaLa Tigers was born, and I started putting together a whole journey of songs that would not only teach my children very valuable skills for life, for coping with stress and anxiety and emotions and understanding their internal world, but also be able to teach them how to create the life of their dreams and live a life of joy and purpose, which
exactly,
an epic thing to do.
Of course. And that's beautiful, isn't it? Because what I love about the music side, like even if people don't necessarily understand the words in the song, but there's something special, isn't there, Rachel, about music, that regardless of nationality, regardless of age, like since the time of dawn, like since humans began, women have sung to their babies, right? The elders have sung to the babies, the teachers have sung to the children in class, right? There's been clapping rhymes, there's been call and response, in tribal rhythms, in tribal songs, in shamanic drumming, across the dawn of time. Music for me is just a universal language. I find it so exciting and so powerful. It's like it stirs something in us, like an old memory, an old dim and distant memory of a time when we were connected with each other in a different way, when we were connected with ourselves in a different way, and when we were connecting with the universe and nature around us in a different way. And for me, like, music is that kind of bridge.
It speaks to every single cell in your body.
Yeah.
Do you know? I think music is the only thing that you can say, you can hear it and you can experience it, but music is the only thing that can evoke memories. And like sometimes you can remember smells, it can evoke feelings, do you know? And like nobody remembers anything that their parents told them when they were 3, like ever.
No.
But all the songs, like if a song comes on the radio, you're transported in your mind to a place or a time, and there's like, it does something to you, and it speaks to you, I think, on a cellular level, and it touches those emotions, and there's nothing else like it. I mean, I know that you and I are kind of very down with things like frequencies and sound healings, and I know you have guests and things talking about that, but there's an element within music and voice. That's what speaks to us. It speaks to us on an energetic level and on a vibration. Every single sound, every single tone has a vibration. And if you think about feelings and thoughts, all of those have vibrations as well. I mean, like happy vibrations, when you're joyous and happy and grateful, you get this lifting feeling. And when you're like angry or sad or depressed, and someone feels like they're sucking the life out of you, that's a very sort of negative, low vibrational feeling. So from that point of view, music speaks to the whole spectrum of feelings.
That's right. And I mean, several times, just a simple thing of, like, if you're in an argument with your kids, or you're in this spiral of nobody's doing anything and nobody's listening to you, and you're like, if you simply just kind of like, get up, walk around, shift the energy in your body, and then just put the radio on, right? Or just put your favorite song on and just think, sod it, just put the music on, and it's like completely shifts that vibration so quickly, which is absolutely brilliant. And on another level as well, when you were talking about emotions, I love the fact that, you can hear the most, beautiful piece of like classical music or whatever, and for some reason it just brings tears to your eyes, like, wow, where's that feeling come from? How incredible is that composer to have found that collection of notes that can make your body react and respond in that way? I mean, I just think it's like magic. It really is.
Well, I like to think that we are instruments.
Yes.
I could go on for ages about harmony and discord, but I genuinely think that we're instruments, and I very much believe that it's our job to make sure that we are as clear an instrument as possible, so that we can trust our inner vision, we can trust our imagination, and we can actually become an instrument of love. But we can do it with fun, and we can teach kids how to do it too, because those sounds and vibrations, they touch something in us, and the reason why it makes us feel something, or sometimes we hear songs and it makes us cry, it's because there's things in us that we need to release. You know, and because that vibrational frequency is kind of just hitting that frequency that something we need to release, it makes us feel stuff. It's phenomenal. I mean, I'm going to stop because I can.
It's so exciting. So just about like on the cellular level, because obviously, you know, I'm fascinated with this as well. Obviously, I've read Dr. Emoto and his messages of water, right? Now, he has used not just the words, the frequency of words, like he did the experiment where he had water in pots and he put words around the water and then the water froze, and then he analyzed under a microscope the cellular structure of the frozen water particles, right? And so he put words around like love, and then he put words around like fear or hate or anger, and the cellular structure was very different. So in the higher vibrational words like love, it was a beautiful symmetrical pattern, and in the lower vibrational words like hate and anger, you know, it wasn't a symmetrical pattern. But what's interesting as well is, of course, that happens with sound. So he also played music to the water, right? And so the purer kind of, you know, music he played, the cells responded to the sound. Now, our body is made up mostly of water. And this is what you're saying about being a clear channel, about our music being an instrument. And it is like our music can pick up, our body picks up those vibrations from the music on an actual cellular level.
Completely. Your child's environment is absolutely everything. I mean, before age 6, they are absorbing absolutely everything as a sponge, and they're expecting everything as fact. You know, if you're playing angry music with angry words and angry messaging, like, then that's what they are going to absorb, because there's no critical factor. So around about 6 or 7, there's something called a critical factor that is formed, and it's really like the age of reason. So it's really why children they believe in Father Christmas, and they believe that the tooth fairy is real, and they believe in fairies on the bottom of the garden. Like, don't watch this with your kids.
It's in the evening. It's in the evening.
Like, we destroyed all childhood. Like, really.
Pause.
I don't think anyone's watching this with their kids anyway. But it's the reason, because they believe absolutely everything. So when you understand that, and then you have a massive opportunity. In fact, more than an opportunity, you have a responsibility. Fill your child's subconscious mind with messages of being enough, with understanding that they're capable of anything, that we're all here for a reason, that they can do anything that they put their mind to. I mean, this is all the messaging that I put into my songs, because if you combine this kind of words and you put it into the vehicle of music, which goes straight into the subconscious mind and stays there forever. I mean, there's even research that patients that have completely lost all of themselves to autism, not autism,
dementia.
Thank you. Completely lost their memory, Alzheimer's and dementia. You play them a song, and not only do they remember all the words, but that kind of effect lasts in their brain, and they become lucid for prolonged periods of time after listening to that music, because music, the part of the brain that is used to store and process music, is not lost even to Alzheimer's. So it goes in, stays in, and it's like, do you know sometimes when you hear songs when you're a kid or whatever, and then you go through some life experiences, and then you hear the song again, and you go, oh, and you might hear it differently. Or you understand something. From my point of view, the way that I use music is to increase connection within families, which I do with lots of crazy stuff, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the messaging that goes into the songs, as long as it's in, I feel like my work is done.
Yes.
If my children know that they're enough,
yes,
if my children know they're capable of anything, if my children understand that that all of their power is within, and to trust their own selves. Because if you could go back in time, I tell you what, if you could go back to when you were 6 years old and give yourself a message, you would probably want to tell yourself that you were enough and that you should trust yourself and just go for it, because like life, it's like death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Yeah.
So I use music to plant very powerful transformational seeds of personal growth, if you like.
I think it's beautiful.
Music. But I do it in a way that's fun for parents too. We don't go out much anymore, do we?
No, exactly.
And I got to get my kicks where I can. I can't write plinky plonky stuff all the time. So.
No, So the thing is, so what, advice, obviously, you've kindly said that tomorrow, as part of our Wellbeing Wednesday, you're going to share one of these beautiful songs with us, with which the children can learn, which the parents can learn along with their children. But just tell us a little bit more about that connection in families, because obviously the work that I've done as well with pregnant women, with the fourth trimester, all up until the children are 2, and then moving on until they're 6, like that is so important. That connection is so important. But there may be some people who are listening now going like, holy crap, I didn't know this. Like, is it too late? Like, have I completely messed up, right? Like my child's 10 and I was like, I'm only hearing this now. So is there a way through your program perhaps, or through these songs, that regardless of the age of the children, that we can still help parents to forge that connection, especially now that we're all locked down together? It's even more important than ever, and there's even more perhaps opportunities than ever.
I think the first thing to remember is, if you're sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I've screwed my child up forever, right? First of all, you're not alone.
So, hello.
That, like, guilt goes with the territory, but
Yeah.
I think it's really important just to note that you can't be guilty of something unless you're consciously aware of it.
That's right.
And so now that you're consciously aware of it, you can do whatever you can do to change that. But let's just talk about the attachment for a second, because as you and I know, the attachment that a child forms with a parent is probably the single most important thing for their mental and emotional well-being for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
I mean, 1 in 3 mental health issues are caused by an adverse childhood experience.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding the delicate nature, it's almost like a sapling, aren't they? Like we want them to become a tree, but in order to get the sapling to be a tree, they have to have the right soil, and they have the right water and sunlight and all the things. And I promise you, the biggest thing that you can do is just to love and accept.
Yes.
Who you have, because most of us have all stress lies in expectation. Most of us have an expectation of what our child is going to be or should be or whatever, and that is where your stress is going to lie, because quite often your child is not going to be that. They're going to be who they are. So having that understanding and acceptance of who your child is, and doing just fun, hang out with your kids. The problem is we're living in this world of disconnection where there's so much screens and there's so much information and TV, and it's great from an information point of view, but it is absolutely killing the family dynamic. It's killing it. So
I certainly know, with 2 older teenage boys, that there were certain times when they were in their rooms on their screens or on their phones. I was in the office on my screen and on my phone, and my partner was in the living room on his screen and on his phone. And we were all in the house together. We were all quite happy.
Completely disconnected.
But we were completely disconnected from each other because we were all getting on with our own thing. I mean, I did used to insist that, we would all come down, eat together, phones away, screens off, at least try to have a conversation, or, grunt, in certain, my sons, but at least we try to communicate in some way, even if they couldn't wait to get away from the table to go back up to their rooms to do it all again. So it is tricky. I do feel that this lockdown, though, has changed the dynamic of social media and Zoom and all of this. And I think that actually there are some people connecting more with their families through these screens than would otherwise have necessarily gone and visited them, right?
Totally, because they're being forced to. And the fact that there's many people that can't go to work or do the same things, and their children are at home. I don't know about you, but so I'm bringing 2 children up and they're off school. The fact that I'm probably not getting as much work done, but we're going out and playing football every day, and we're going for bike rides. We've got a garden at the front, and we go for a bike ride because we live on the seafront, so we cycle on the seafront every day. And it's even just that time where they would normally be at school for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they're intuitively choosing what they want to do on a daily basis.
Yes.
And if we think about learning and how we want to draw that out, and I talk about a lot. I talk about this a lot in my program about trusting your inner vision and trusting your imagination and trusting that inner voice. Our children are kind of quite often with schooling and all the screens, they're being denied the ability to connect with themselves. That's probably the biggest issue with this society that we have, is because when you become disconnected from yourself and you have the creation of an ego, I'm not going to go into huge amounts of detail and science on that, but the minute you start to become disconnected from yourself, you can't possibly be connected to anybody else. You can't be kind to yourself, you can't be authentic, you can't, self-connection is the heart of everything. In fact, I do a whole module on it in my program, and it's all about being able to listen to yourself and trust your inner voice and listen to the sensations in your body, understand what your feelings are. Because if you're not connected to that, and the minute we are looking at a screen, TV, numbing, food, alcohol, shopping, gambling, whatever it is that we're using to numb, we're not having the time to connect with ourselves. I always say it's the space between the notes. That is,
yes, it is.
Music.
I do the same. That's beautiful.
We have to have it, and I think this situation is forcing that. It's forcing people to hang out more with their family and look for creative ways to have fun.
Yes.
Like, we have a dance off every week. We're like kitchen dancing. Everyone does kitchen dancing, right?
Do kitchen dancing. Teach us around the head.
Exactly. It's all air guitar. We made our own Cure video. God, that was what we did. We made a music video for 10:15 on a Saturday night for any ex-punks out there.
Perfect. Pink hair and everything. So that's brilliant. So listen, for the end of our little teaching session here, are there perhaps like 3 golden nuggets, or even 1 golden nugget that you could leave for our parents who are listening to just, really think about and think, okay, this is what I learned from this interview. This is what I love. This is what I'm going to go away with and try and do.
Okay. I'd love to say that it's about music, but the thing that's coming up for me is that I want just like people to understand that absolutely it's not just about playing the songs, and it's not just about the words that you use. Everything that you say, every behavior, every look, every interaction conveys a message of worth to your child.
Yeah.
If you're looking at your phone and you're not looking at them when they're talking to you, you're not conveying that they are worth talking to. If you are saying great words but you're not kind of giving them any attention, like, everything has an energy attached to it. And I would just invite people to think that there's basically 2 ways. There's force, control, stress, or this power, which is coming from a place of love, which normally involves creativity and looking at things in a different way and being open and being able to move through things. And that's how I use music in my program to do it. And so I would just invite people to think that for every interaction that you have is you're teaching your child their worth with everything that you do.
That's beautiful, and that's so true. Thank you so much. So listen, Rachel, obviously in the group, you're in our units as one of our specialists, as one of our wellbeing specialists. But if people wanted to get in touch with you, like, can they direct message you? Can they tag you under the comments in this post? And where can we find you if people are interested, maybe even after lockdown, in pursuing this beautiful alternative route that you've carved out for families, for parents, for children, for connection, for music? Where can they find you?
They can find me at lalatigers.com. And can I just say, I know it sounds all very woo and stuff, but oh my goodness, this air guitar. I got the 3 times UK air guitar champion and Hideout Skateboard Park, and we teach the kids how to do windmills and knee slides. Do you know, we do Bad Wedding Dancing Championships. There are house tracks and there are rock tracks. So please don't, it's so much fun. But you can find it all at lalatigers.com. I'm giving away the first 2 weeks free as a free trial, so people can come along and check it out. And then it runs as a membership, so they can find me. My TED Talk's on there. I did a TED Talk about inspiring confidence, self-belief in children through music. That's all on there. And Facebook and Instagram, again, LaLa Tigers.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, listen, I'll let you get back to your beautiful children, and we will see you in the hub tomorrow.
Can I ask you to do something before we go?
Yes.
Can you give me a massive rah?
Yes. Okay. Bye.
Bye, lovely. Thanks for having me.